So I'm sitting out here in my second office. Those of you that follow our page know what that is. That means I'm sitting out here in my truck in the parking lot here. And there's so much I need to put out that I'm just going to flood the page. So I decided instead of flooding the page, I'm just going to kind of talk to you just for a little bit. And I know people are not even catching up or joining yet because they're not even seeing this in their feed that we're live. But the good thing about these live feeds is that, you know, people, once I stop the feed, that they can go back and just watch it. So there's several things that I was needing to put out today and needed to rebump, you know, some of the posts up and stuff like that. But it's turning into with the stainless steel bull drive, which I'm presently conducting. I have a lot of posts just today on just that, so I didn't want to flood the page. So I just wanted to briefly touch on everything and kind of tell y'all where we're at. I think the biggest thing that's coming up is Two Hearts, which is this Saturday. That's when the price of adoption drops down to $15 plus $5 admin fee. So it's a total of $20 for any adoptable dog or cat on that day, on Saturday, which is the same day as the City of Lawton, Lawton Fort Sill Freedom Festival, which is the fireworks. Bringing up the show, which is going to be phenomenal. I'm not trying to persuade or talk negative about 4th of July shows, because last year I did a live feed from there. I tried to show everyone, you know, what we do down there. I was showing you behind the scenes stuff there. But with that, the 5th of July, which if we just go off of the 4th of July being, you know, when the fireworks happen, the 5th of July is the busiest day for every shelter across the United States. There's several other shelters that follow us, and just like we follow a bunch of other ones. And I'll guarantee you that they'll agree to that. That's one of the busiest days. Another real busy day is during the summertime that we're in right now. This whole summer vacation, people don't want to be burdened with animals, and they interrupt their summer vacation. They interrupt, you know, what is supposed to be their time off, so they turn them in. I just watched that video from, I believe it's Austin, where the giant line of people trying to turn in their animals, and owner released them to the shelter just because it's a burden and they no longer want to take care of them. That's a shame if we are not looking at animals the same way we look at our kids. I won't just take my kids to the fire department and drop them off and say, here you go, you know, you deal with them. The kids are the same way, or the dogs are the same way. When I move from one place to another, I ensure I can take my dogs with me. I ensure that, you know, all pets are accounted for and they move with us. So this is not meant, a lot of people think that, oh, I'll just wait until they're $15. A lot of animals get adopted prior to the Two Hearts. There's nothing saying that you're going to find that exact animal you've been looking at the Two Hearts event. The intent, when I very first came up with Two Hearts, was one time a month we would be able to reduce the adoption fee, which would ultimately reduce the euthanasia that we conduct down here. People say, are you a kill shelter? That's one of the first questions a newbie that joins the page wants to know. Are you a kill shelter? Yes, we euthanize animals. We do everything in our power to not have to do that. And that's where the confusion comes in. I said in my last video, people think that we're a rescue because of the amounts that we're doing and all the events, but we're an open city shelter. No city shelter can turn away a stray. So we have to keep taking those in. We have to keep bringing them. And I refuse to leave an animal out on the street, because let's just say I round the corner, I see a dog running down the street. If I leave that, the next day I'll be picking up a deceased animal, one that was hit by a car, when I could have picked it up, brought it in, and at least secured it, got it off the street, and got it out of harm's way. And then the owners could potentially come in that same day. I mean, literally, we've had people beat the officer back here because they're going from call to call to call. And they said, hey, I saw Animal Welfare pick the dog up. I'm here to claim it. And it's like, well, he's not back yet. He's still on a call. He'll be here in a little bit. Those are what I call responsible pet owners. Those are what we would love everyone in the state of Oklahoma, everyone in the United States to be like that. When you see your dog get out, the shelter should be the very first place you check. The shelters, these kill shelters, I'll use their own verbiage. Those that euthanize are the ones, those animals need you the most. They need you before any other animal, before that Craigslist animal, before that free to a good home. Those that are sitting in the shelter really do need your help and really do need you to come down and take a look at them. And I'm not saying just come down to Lawton Animal Welfare. We work with so many different shelters, and we're connected all across Oklahoma at this point, from Midwest City to Granfield, Chattanooga, Altus, Duncan, Elgin, all the surrounding ones. We all have one purpose, and that's to get as many animals out the front door that we can. But I don't think any of us want to just get the animals out. We really want to find them those good forever homes. We really want responsible pet owners to come down and adopt. Those are our key ones that we're hoping every single time that we adopt that we're getting. Same with rescues. Rescues don't want just to adopt. They want to make sure it's forever. They want to make sure that it's to a good home. Okay, I'll keep going. I just posted the video just a little bit ago about the Domino's gift card, so hopefully she'll pick that up either within next couple days or maybe on Saturday, because they were all the way up in Gould and came down here. It was a mother-daughter, I remember it, and they each adopted one. So they're the ones that won the free one. So they have enough mouths to feed. That $20 is if they get the $5 pizzas, you know, that's a pretty good little meal for them. So congratulations on that. Right now, the stainless steel bowl drive, I went around to multiple stores. I'm still waiting on a couple phone calls back. I was trying to post and share those that were willing to give a discount to anyone that was coming in buying specifically for Lawton Animal Welfare and support the animals of Lawton. So if I get any of the phone calls today, I'll post their links and what specials they're going to give you. In the beginning of June, I put out that we were attempting to do 200 animals adoptions in a single month, which would have been a record-breaking month. Because last month we did that 46%. We have a cyclic up and down that we do, and we were attempting to try and do 2 months in a row, which would be a first, over 90%. And so presently we're at 97 for the month, which is still lower than some of our what are becoming norms. And we have 2 days left. We have today and Friday, and then on the 1st of July, which is Saturday, the Two Hearts event that I just talked about, that's a whole nother month. So our numbers go all the way back to zero again, and we recalculate month in, month out for that. The overflow that we are in right now, we knew that we would have to be close to 200 to be able to achieve that goal. We would need 200 animals adopted. I have enough in there right now to reach that goal. They're already ready, they're fixed, they're microchipped, rabies shots, vaccinated, city license is issued, wellness check by the vets. you know, everything's already done. They're just waiting for people to come down here and take a look. How many puppies do we have right now? I believe we have 12 puppies that are looking for new homes. We have, I don't know how many kittens, probably about the same. Let's just say 12 and 12. I may have a little more, I may have a little less. But just today alone, I got another litter of puppies turned in that are only 5 weeks old. So now I got to hold them for 3 more weeks before I can even fix them and put them up for adoption. The puppies that are ready, they're ready right now. They're ready to go out. The kittens, they're ready. I have everything from big dogs to little tiny dogs, from older cats down to kittens. So if you're looking for an animal, now is a great time. If we can get more adoptions in these next 2 days, that only helps our success rate for June. July 1st, it'll start all over, and I expect a lot of people down for our Two Hearts event. But I needed to put out there, we only have 2 days left in June and then on 1 July, I'll be posting the numbers for June. We have only 2 more days for the fiscal year, which ends June 30th, and then 1 July starts our new fiscal year for 17-18. So once again, I'll put out our success rate for the year, and then it starts back at 0, and we just attempt to do it all over again. So 97 out of the 200 so far have been adopted with 2 days left. If you have time and you're looking to add a new family member, whether it be an elderly dog, which I'll address the elderly dogs right now. All elderly dogs are sponsored. I get a lot of questions about what does sponsored mean. That means someone came down here, selected the dog, and said, I will pay for their adoption fees. 100% paid for, which means no money comes out of your pocket. It doesn't matter if you get them today or you get them Saturday. That doesn't change the sponsorship. The sponsorship has already been prepaid. We just need people who are willing to come down and take a look at the elderly dogs, which is 4 years old and older. Any dog 4 years old and older. We have, I believe both are senior cats. We have a couple of cats that are a little older. I believe it's all right now senior pets. So dog or cat, 4 years old or older. If I'm wrong and I have an additional senior in there, I'll personally sponsor them. So I'll just make it a flat point. 4 years old or older, they are prepaid, they are sponsored, looking for good homes. We've been trying to kick off our Seniors for Senior program to see if some of the senior citizens would be willing to match up with some of our senior animals. It makes a lot of sense, and when you're looking at something like that, these animals are a lot calmer than the younger ones. We have a lot of senior citizens, and even they want puppies and they want the real young dogs, but in reality, they can't handle those type of animals. A more calmer dog that's already older and already potty trained and already knows, basic sets of rules and basic commands. I would love to see that really kick off, where it's seniors are looking for senior dogs and looking for that companionship and being able to give them, a good quality of life for whatever time's left for these seniors in here once we get them into a home. That's my goal. So we'll see if we can do that. Okay, I'm going to try and keep going through the notes. I also posted about the national, this is not Lawton Humane Society, but this is the National Humane Society, is helping all shelters across Oklahoma right now. I did a post yesterday, I believe maybe last night. Yeah, it was last night when I changed our top heading to this right here. And what they're asking you to do is just call in a puppy mill, and if they get the puppy mill shut down, you're going to get a $5,000 reward. This is probably one of the biggest things that have come in support of animals. If I wrote in that post that if you've never seen the living conditions, this is not a bad picture. It just shows that they're in wire cages and it's kind of nasty. But if you've never been in one of these houses of a hoarder or a flipper, some of the living conditions that these animals have to suffer in, a lot of times going weeks and stuff like that without food, and the smell alone coming as soon as you get to the front door, it's incredible the sufferings that animals can make it through. And within 4 weeks, 8 weeks of them getting out of that condition, it's like looking at a totally different animal. It's like looking at one that never suffered anything. Animals are real resilient to be able to bounce back and to be able to, I hear it all the time. What they say is an animal knows that you saved them from the shelter, and they show extra love. They give you even more compassion because somehow they realize. You see the videos, I've been watching them the last couple of days on Facebook, where dogs are literally clinging to their owner when they realize that they're being dropped off at shelters and whining and crying and realize that they're not going home with them. Animals have a sense. They know things, and it's hard to explain. But time and time again, I hear how much these animals that get adopted from here and they go into a home, how much love they really have and how much they show to the people that adopt. So I think it's amazing. I just wanted to remind everyone about that, share that. We have puppy mills all around us, believe it or not. Some of them are just outside of our jurisdiction that we've been getting screenshots, pictures, statements from, and so we are compiling those and hopefully with the help of the National Humane Society and with some of the groups that are established in investigation now here in Oklahoma, we can get those shut down pretty soon too. Okay, I talked about the bowl drive, the 2 days left. Puppies and kittens was my next subject, and we already had questions about the puppies and kittens. We are overran just like every other shelter. All of us are out here trying to get people to spay and neuter their pets, and that's a big promotion for me, is spay and neuter, spay and neuter. On every single post, you'll see the hashtags about spay and neuter. You think that your one little litter is nothing. Well, that one little litter that got dropped off today is a big deal to us. Now we have to take up a pen for 3 weeks just to wait for these dogs to get old enough before we can even fix them. One pin in a shelter, when we get full, I'm trying to remember how long ago it was. I think it was 6 months ago when I came out here and I apologized because there was a 30-minute wait to turn animals in. Because literally we had zero space and I had 6 people standing in line waiting to turn animals in. Not strays, these were owner releases. People were bringing them and dropping them off to us for us to deal with. And we had to make room. I had to go back there and I had to select, okay, which one's going down and which kennel are we going to open. Then you have to sterilize that kennel and then you take one in. And then that just repeats until you have enough. The people that have issues with a kill shelter or a non-kill shelter just can't seem to grasp the concept of space. You can put 2 dogs together and you can double up the pins as long as there's no food aggression. That was one of the things that got the shelter, 2.5, 3 years ago in trouble, was 2 dogs were put together, one was food aggressive and there was no paying attention. So when we put dogs together, we have to ensure that there's no food aggression, there's no aggression towards each other whatsoever. But I have 60 large kennels here that I can hold 60 large dogs, and I have about 60 cat cages. These are just rough numbers I'm throwing out there. And when you're talking about holding, 200 plus animals, and we're using temporary kennels, there's only so much space that a shelter has. And everyone keeps pointing and saying, you know, thank God that you're there and you're doing this. This isn't me. These numbers coming out of this place is not me. It's Lawton and the surrounding communities that allow us these numbers. You guys support it. You guys share these posts and you share the stories on the animals. You guys come down and adopt. You guys reach out to rescues for rescues to pull an animal. You know, you step up to become fosters. This stuff is not a one-man solo thing. This is a team effort that just keeps going, and it's a never-ending story until we can actually turn the tide where most people are in agreement that we need to spay and neuter our pets. So this pet overpopulation starts a downward turn. Today alone, one of the posts was shared, and it was saying that we're number 3 in puppy mills in the whole United States. It's hard to break that cycle when people don't have a job, and that's what they do. They pick up free to good home animals, they breed animals, they sell animals, and that's how they make their living. Now, how do you get them to change their mind or see the light that you're killing thousands and thousands of animals in shelters every single year? You don't, because that's inbred in them. That is what they do. And they'll justify it by, well, at least I'm getting them a good home. If I make money off it, so what? But the animals that are going to these homes still aren't fixed, which are only perpetuating the problem and the issue. One oops litter is up to 12. We'll just use 12 as a round number. It could be higher, it could be lower. But on average, let's say 8 to 12 to a litter. One little oops litter, and we have 20 of those oops litters just alone in Lawton. That's a pretty large number of animals we're trying to find homes for. Rescues are out there every weekend trying to do adoptions. We're here, 5 days a week trying to do adoptions. We're picking animals up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, bringing them in. And there's one of the questions I got asked this week was, where's the tipping point? How long do you give an animal before you euthanize it? How long do you hold that animal before they get selected? So let's go backwards. I'll back you up. Back when I was a field supervisor, it was 10 days. They got 10 days. After 10 days, every animal got euthanized. That was what they got, 10 days. I don't care if they got fixed on day 9 and they make it up to adoption row on day 10. They got an X mark on their card and they were youth. There is no tipping point as far as dates for us. We had an animal, a dog in here from way back in, November. Literally, what shelters are attempting to do right now is, it was always said you run at 50% capacity. So that way the influxes that come in, you can assume those influxes. Shelters are not wanting to run at 50%. Your new directors, your new people that are coming in and taking over, they're trying to save as many as they can, but what happens is you start running at over 100%. I'm way over 100% capacity. If it wasn't for the Center of Creative Living getting that PetSmart grant and PetSmart granting us those 24 temporary kennels, my numbers would be atrocious right now. We're doing the stainless steel bowl drive because of that fact that we broke out those 24 kennels and set them up in the ed building, broke out the old plastic bowls, so they would have food and water, which is making cleaning even harder, because if you've ever seen dogs and cats, I'm going to say cats too, them chewing on those bowls, it makes it real sharp and edgy, and we have to sterilize every bowl right now because we just don't have any left. So it takes time. It takes away from, we could move to the next one. But that's where shelters are changing. That's where the perception's changing. That's how we're able to do what we're doing. Shelters don't want to go by time anymore. They, first of all, are selecting the animals. I don't know of one shelter around that's willing to send out an aggressive animal. So we're all saying, okay, this is a public safety issue. This guy is just nuts, or this girl. We're not basing it on the breed. We're not basing it on, any other factor except for, is this animal a friendly animal, or is this animal aggressive? If it's aggressive, those animals unfortunately get youth because there's nothing to do with those. Now, there's an exception to that rule, and that's feral cats. Feral cats are non-adoptable cats. Well, what do you do with those then? For 30 years, they had one thing that they did, and that was euthanize a feral cat. With our barn cat program, it is so successful right now. I believe we're doing more today. Today's Thursday, so it's surgery day. But each time that we get barn cats in, usually we have a line of sticky notes up back in the kennel that they start calling down the list. I post it on Facebook, hoping people come in. Usually we get 6 at a time is about average on a surgery day. They go out that way. They're not adoptable, so I can't adopt it out to you and say, oh, here you go. But it can still have a good quality of life in the barn cat program. They go out to farmers and ranchers for free, and they help them with rodent control. They still have to feed them. They still have to water them. You still have to give them shelter. You still have to, kind of tend to them. I believe I've got another dog being turned in. I lost my train of thought. Sorry. But the cats we can send out on the feral cat program. Dogs are a different story. That becomes a liability issue. And like I said, it's not just Lawton, but across the board, shelters do not try and send out aggressive animals. So let me keep rolling. Well, I think that finished up what I was really needing to talk about. The how long do you hold them? We hold them until we run out of space. That's basically the answer nowadays. I really have to get out of using the ed building, and the only way to positively do that is through adoptions. And that's why I was kind of wanting to talk to y'all about that and say, we have 2 days left in June, and the 4th of July is coming up, which is the busiest time for shelters, across the United States. I put up a 4th of July pledge, which I started last year. It's Pledge the 5th. Pledge that the animal won't be in the shelter on the 5th. Pledge that on the 4th of July and really for the next 2 weeks, it's illegal to pop off fireworks in Lawton. Every single year, for about 2 weeks, every single neighborhood is going to hear firecrackers and fireworks, and you're going to see stuff go up, and police officers will be dispatched all over the place trying to find them. By the time that the police get there, they'll already be back in their house. So if you didn't catch a video of them doing it, there's no way to prove that it was them. It's going to happen. And I'm just talking reality here. Keep them in the house for the next couple weeks. If you really, truly love your animal, keep them inside. My animal's just an outside dog. Well, then will you please put him in the garage? Put him in the garage with an air conditioner and keep fresh food and water in there with him so he can't escape. I was watching a couple videos last night. Very gruesome. They won't be on my page, but it was animals that were trying to get out of their own backyard because fireworks were happening. Some of you probably saw that video. And it's kind of disturbing what an animal will do trying to get away from perceived danger. And to them, that's what fireworks are. They're immediate danger to them. It could be 2 miles away from you, but all they're hearing is the big boom. They can maybe see the flash of light, and they feel that percussion, and they're going to try and escape. They're going to try and get out. So I'm really asking everyone to pledge the 5th with me. You can go on our page, look for it. It's a little Snoopy standing on his doghouse. And that's the logo we used, and you can just read that. And it just kind of promises that you'll keep them out of this shelter. You'll keep them out of every other shelter around here. You're going to keep them at home, and you're going to keep them safe. So that way they don't end up here and perpetuate the issue. So we've got 2 days left in June, which will crack us right into July. We wipe our numbers clean, and we'll start all over with July's numbers. We have 97 adoptions right now, so the goal was 200. So if we can get 50 adoptions today, 50 adoptions tomorrow, hey, we're going to reach the goal. But in reality, I mean, whatever numbers we get, we're doing it as a team. We're doing it as a community. I am grateful at the support and the effort from all of the community that we're getting. We post something that we need, or the whole pool drive started because I was talking about just going out and buying a couple, and then, you know, I got several messages, will you please just make a post saying that you want pools? We literally bought Lawton out of kiddie pools. There was no kiddie pool in Lawton to be found. That's how responsive you guys and girls are out there. The bathing went extremely well. I keep, you know, people are stopping in daily now just to interact with the dogs. They're maxed out on animals, but they just want to come down and say hello and, you know, entertain them for a little bit. So we're staying pretty busy down here with people coming and going. We need the adoptions. If you want to just come down and say hello, or just come down and take a walk through the adoption row and you know, talk to them, and those animals right there you can touch, you can play with. You can't touch the ones that are still on stray hold because we're still waiting for mom and dad, which you can go down the page and find the mom and dad where are you post, and share that. Those are your lost and found that are still on stray hold. We can't do anything with them until they come off of stray hold, and we're just, priority number one is getting them back into their home. Priority number two is getting them fixed and up into adoption. Number three is finding that good forever home and ensuring that when we adopt them out, that they're not coming back in a day or two. That's where the priority is. So I know I'm kind of rambling. Usually this thing shows me the time up here, but it's not. I try and keep them under 10 minutes. I'm sure I'm way past that time limit, so I'm going to let y'all go, but I didn't want to spam the page with all these different things I needed to put out. I figured I'd put out just a single video and try and cover, you know, what we're looking at. Look for Saturday. I'll post all the different fiscal year success rate, the June success rate. You know, I was very impressed. And I'll give it to the staff. I get a little bit of grief, but not much, on the amount of animals we're holding right now. And it's been about 4 solid months that we've really been hammered. And summertime is the worst. I explained that earlier for shelters. And we are keeping those numbers so high when, if you go backwards and you look, when I very first officially got hired, I try and take my vacations in July. I officially got hired in July. I took off 2 weeks, came back, finished out those 2 weeks, and my very first post on the page as the official superintendent was, we hit high kill. And I had to put that out there and say, okay, here's our numbers, and we were in the 59.9, whatever it was, 91, I forget what that number was, but it was high kill. And I had to put that out. A buddy of mine that runs a shelter, I think did 67 last month, that's the numbers that technically most shelters are running at during the summertime. They run at either high kill or real low kill, and I hate using those terms, and you never see that on my posts anymore, because when they talk about whether they're high kill, low kill, no kill, the no kill movement doesn't want any shelter to euthanize any adoptable animal. When I took over, the first question that was asked was, okay, are you going to start publishing numbers? Yes, I am. Okay, so how do you determine what's adoptable, what's not adoptable? And then you go on there and you start looking at, okay, this is what they determine is adoptable, this is what they determine is not adoptable. I've never done that. From my very first post, when we started backtracking numbers and I started putting out the numbers, if the dog or cat came into our possession, that animal counts. We have court orders, we have aggressive animals, we have so severely injured animals that they're just suffering. There's a whole list that's acceptable for the no-kill movement that I just throw out the window. If it walks through the door, if it's brought through the door, if we pick it up on the street, that animal to me counts. It's important. So am I a no-kill shelter? No. And I'll never be. We will never be a 100% no-kill because I will not leave an animal suffering if it's more humane to put it down. I have court orders that I have to. That's a court order. I'll go to jail if I don't carry it out. There's a whole slew of reasons why some animals get put down, but people want to hide behind this adoptable. The no-kill movement's all about the adoptable animals. When you look at our numbers, that's 100% that come into our possession. And I even post the numbers that we start with, how many we intake, the total number that we handled throughout the month, and then how many did we euthanize. From day one, we'll go back again. Why don't you post why you euthanized them? And you want to know what my answer has always been and always will be? What difference does it make why we euthanize them? Is it to make you feel better? Is it to try and make me feel better? The hardest part is the situation we're finding ourselves into now where you just don't have any kennel space left and now you're euthanizing because of space. That's where shelters really start getting a little frustrated, and you have to keep reminding your shelter staff and yourself. Now, let me just talk about me. I have to remind myself almost every day about, remember empathy. Remember that people have a different reason that they're doing things, and I don't want to just come out here and chew someone's head off because they're turning an animal into me. Maybe they don't follow Facebook. Maybe they don't know how full we are. Maybe they don't realize that I have 0 kennel space left. And now I'm back there and I have to make a determination. And things, I guess I'll go into that. Things go by dates and times. How long do I have to hold an animal? I have to hold an animal for 72 hours. So we did a little adjustment to that. We hold them for 72 working hours and we don't count Saturday because that's only a partial day. So I get a dog in Friday afternoon. Friday won't count because we haven't been open all day by the time that we got the animal. Saturday don't count because we're only open part of the day. Sunday don't count because we're closed. Monday don't count because we're closed. Next week, which is the next subject I got to talk about, we're closed on Tuesday because it's 4th of July. 4th of July don't count. Monday will be the first day we start counting, so on Wednesday. So Thursday has been 24 hours. Friday will be 48 hours. You go all the way to the next Tuesday, and we get through that Tuesday. Now you've hit your 72 hours. That Wednesday, I can then select them for surgery. And then because of the amount of animals coming into the shelter, there could be a 2-week backlog getting that animal now into surgery. And you can ask any vet in town, how many surgeries do you think you can do in a day? And Doc Haney knocks out surgeries, I'm going to say average 20 per day that he comes down here, and he comes down here 2 times a week. You can look backwards. I started posting surgery day results just to show how many that we're doing. And we go anywhere from 18 to 25. One time we hit almost 40. That's when I owed them the pizza party. I told them, if you hit that many, I will throw a pizza party for everyone, and we did it. Setting ourselves goals like that and trying to keep things into perspective and keep our own empathy sometimes is hard. But when an animal comes through the shelter, we got to try our best. We have to do 100% of what we have to give. If that means I'm working 7 days a week, putting in 20, 22-hour days, that's what I do. We're always trying to come up with what are we going to do next? What are we going to do next? Go backwards and read May's results, and you'll see how many different events we put ourselves through trying to get animals out and trying to get them into good homes. Yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah, sometimes it's hard. But this staff is so amazing. The volunteers that come down here, those volunteers don't have to be here. They could be sitting at home watching TV and never leave the AC, but they come down here and they invest their time, they invest their effort, their heart, their soul, and it's amazing when you see them tear up because their special animal got adopted and got out. And in the same token, I believe the cat's still in there. I forget its name, but it's still back from Lucky Day to be adopted. And if you know anything, that would be March. That would be for St. Patrick's Day. Why do I have a cat in there from March? That is, so at what point do we decide, okay, this one's had way more than enough opportunity and we're going to have to euthanize that to move another one up? Because there's only so much space in cat adoption, just like dogs. But I believe that Saturday, that one's going to get out. It's gonna find its home. That's the one we're going to show to everyone and see if we can make a difference. One of my taglines is always saving one animal at a time, and that's what we do. Every day that people come in, if we could just get one animal out, then we made a difference. If to no one else, to that one. We allowed that one to go to a forever home. Okay, I'm just rambling. 2 days left for June. We'll close out June. That'll also close out our fiscal year. So on Saturday, watch for all the posts. I'll get all the posts up, including our pictures for our Two Hearts Drive, everything like that. Then I'm going to be taking off for 2 weeks. I'm going to take a vacation, and Roy, our field supervisor, he has admin rights now to Facebook. He'll be able to address things that come up on Facebook. My phone, here's the case to it. It's actually sitting up on the dash, so I'll have my phone with me in case of any emergencies or anything, but hopefully nothing happens over those 2 weeks and everything goes smooth. But while I'm gone, if y'all can just keep sharing those adoptable folders, the adoptable videos, and help keep the word out, that's going to make a big difference. And then when I get back, we'll keep pushing on. We're going to do what we can do and keep going forward. But I just want to take one thing and just say thank you to all of you. If you actually watched this video or you even got to this point, being as long as it is, you're the ones that are making the difference. You are the ones that are actually hitting that share button, and you're the ones that are getting the word out to those people. It's not Fort Sill's not putting a burden on me. Last month was only 12 animals. When you're talking about taking in and handling over 500, 12 animals is absolutely nothing to the bucket. Just FYI, I seen that come through the feed there. It's not Fort Sill. It's people from all surrounding right now we're being dumped on. I had several people call in. We're tracking license plates. We're tracking, literally, they're driving into Lawton and dumping animals. Today, I was overhearing the people that were turning in the puppies saying that we're the best and they just wanted to help us, and these puppies are real adoptable. What? So That's the issue that we're facing at the moment. We have a bunch of people moving. We have a bunch of people PCSing. We have a bunch of people just doing whatever, and they're moving on with their life. And I can't turn them away. I don't want to turn them away, because then I'm going to send an officer out and he'll chase an animal for 45 minutes when I could have just took it at the front counter. That's a double-edged sword there. It's really hard to balance. I saw the misconception that we're on intake hold. We're not on intake hold. I don't have that luxury. I'm not a rescue. My door is open. We're picking them up 24/7, 365 days a year. Now, of course, after hours, they're on emergency calls only. So a dog hit by, a car on the side of the road, that's an emergency. We're going to run out there and do it. A basic stray animal that's just walking down the street, unfortunately, is not. We just don't have the manpower, to cover the road 24 hours a day for every single call. I would literally need to triple my staff to be able to entertain something like that and balance that out. But see, every time I sign off, y'all want to make a comment, and you get me going. So I'm not going to read the comments no more. 2 more days left in June. Let's see if we can get you guys and girls down here to take a look at what we do have adoptable. Go down the page, find the adoption video, get that out there. Find that lost and found video, get that out there. Several people now have come from I'm not going to start mentioning names, but these cities, we shouldn't have their animals, and somehow we're picking them up, bringing them here, including, I'll use Wichita Falls, Texas. I mean, we've got people that, I saw my animal on there, and they came up, and sure enough, this dog's jumping up and down and so excited, and it's like, it went missing 2 weeks ago. I don't know where it went. I keep going to my shelter, and then you post this, and we've had them come all the way from Tulsa. I don't know how in the world we're getting dogs dumped in Lawton from all over the place. So just because you don't live in Lawton doesn't mean that your animal's not here. When someone shows up, we're closed 1 to 2 for lunch. People will refuse to wait till 2 o'clock and then dump animals. That's why you usually see my truck still sitting here for lunch, and I'm watching the parking lot to make sure things are not being dumped in our parking lot. That's how bad it is right now. I have to send them to lunch. It's an hour we close from 1 to 2 for lunch. This staff, on a norm, is pre-scheduled for 42-hour work weeks, incorporating that Saturday. You imagine if I took away their lunch hour for every one of those days, how much more overtime that would be. Anything over 40 hours is automatic overtime. So if most of my staff's already getting 2 hours overtime automatically every week, I would really bust my budget. So I want to stay open till 6 o'clock. And that's why we don't close till 5, at 5 o'clock. So we take that 1 hour break, and that pushes out, instead of 5 o'clock, it pushes out till 6 o'clock. Allowing people that are getting off at 5 o'clock to be able to still make it down here and still be able to take a look. So, all right, everyone. I'm not reading comments. I'm not looking. I'm going to sign off, and I appreciate everyone. I really do. I really want you to know the support is so appreciated for all these different events that we're doing. I don't care where we go. You guys are showing up. You're talking to us. You're spending time with us. You're washing the dogs with us. You're donating pools. Now you're donating stainless steel bowls. That is not taken lightly by me or the staff or the volunteers down here that are actually doing the boots on ground stuff. And I just wanted you guys to know how appreciative I was. And we'll see you down here. Lawton Animal Welfare, 2104 Southwest 6th Street.